Okay, you guys, we are back for another episode. And thank you so much. And welcome to the 10 Dimensions of Wellness podcast. As you know, I am your host, Cammie Red, and I am excited to have you join us for this episode. Now, let me just say this. If you listened to this podcast 5 years ago, you're going to know who this guest is. Okay. So, on this episode, as we continue to explore the diverse aspects of wellness, today we are reintroducing you back to mental health specialists and one of our speakers and coaches for the virtual wellness summit. And you all know her. Her name is Kaye Henry. Kaye is a dedicated advocate for mental health and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. Through her work, she inspires others to prioritize their mental well-being, break down stigmas, and embrace tools and practices that promote a healthy mind. Now, in today's conversation, Kaye is going to share some valuable insights on how we can all support mental health and navigate our mental health and navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. So again, let's see. Welcome back to the show, Kaye.
Hi, people. How are you? How's everyone feeling today?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
I was grooving to the music that was going on before, so I was like, do.
All right, you
guys. I know y'all can't hear the music, but it's in my spirit right now. Just letting y'all know.
Listen, y'all know how Kaye is. I got some questions for her, but we all know she gonna take off and do her own thing at some point throughout this interview, okay? So I'm just gonna give you the floor in a few minutes, but my first question for you, Kaye, is tell us about Black Therapy Uncensored, you being back on the air, and what has inspired this change and for you to create this platform again.
Okay, so Black Therapy Uncensored is my brainchild that came about in COVID. Like everybody was doing a podcast. A lot of people are still doing podcasts, but I was one of the first people in that cohort of like, hey, people are in their house. There's nothing better to do, so they should listen to me. And being that I'm a therapist and the inaccessibility of getting to therapy, because a lot of therapists transition to telehealth was, well, if people can't afford it because we're going through this pandemic, they can listen to some advice from a professional that does not take the place of going to therapy. Just fair warning. So please do not turn me on and be like, hey, my therapist, I'm not your therapist. I'm a person that is a therapist giving you advice, but you should really go speak to a therapist as their client. So the brainchild for that is there's a stigma with therapy, and especially a lot of Black people not wanting to go to therapy. I'm Caribbean, so in my culture, there's a stigma where if you go to therapy, you have any mental health problems, you're crazy. And I created Black Therapy Uncensored to let people know you're not crazy if you go to therapy. We all need to talk to someone. We all have mental health issues. We're all a little crazy in our own way. Unhinged, uncut, raw, real stuff from a Black therapist hailing from the North Caribbean. So that's where the brainchild came from that. So COVID, I had a lot of time to create this podcast and release episodes. I had nothing but creativity going on because when I'm in my own space, I'm very creative. It's just when I'm around other people that drains my energy. So then it took a pause because I had to actually go back out to work. Yay, but nay. And so then recently I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take a go at it again and use all the things that I acquired during COVID for those 4 years and try to, create new episodes from that.
Now, you guys, this is not Kaye's first time on this podcast. As you know, we had her on the podcast 5 years ago when we started during COVID as well. So, as you see, this is one
Those
of our
good times.
Yes. This is one of our returning speakers to the virtual summit, but also she's a returning guest on the show. So we're just excited to have her. Now, Kay, your focus is on mental health. What specific aspects of mental health do you emphasize in your work?
So in recent times, I realized, and we're adults. I don't like working with adults. Working with children and adolescents. I'm gonna explain this before someone gets on here and say, well, how could you be a therapist that doesn't like working with adults? Because adults, you voluntarily come into therapy. No one is forcing you unless you have a psychotic episode. So when you come in there and you don't have goals and you don't want to work, a therapist like me gets annoyed because no one forced you to be here. Whereas with children and adolescents, 9 times out of 10 is somebody who referred them to therapy and told them that they need to be in therapy. So I have a little bit more patience with them. Also, if I tell a kid, hey, between this session and next session, do this, they'll go and do it. Adults give me a ton of excuses for why they can't do stuff. Time, money, I'm tired, my baby daddy, my baby mama, this, my mommy, my daddy. It's a bunch of excuses. It's either you want the help or you don't want the help. I get it. It's tough. And everyone's coming from a place of trauma. Everyone's coming from the dysfunction. But you got to trust the therapist. And if you don't, fire them and find someone that you can trust to get the real work done. Because honestly, no one's forcing you to be there. So if you don't want to do the work, you're not only wasting your therapist's time, you're wasting your time. So that's what I want to put out there. I want to implore all the adults who are struggling to look for therapy and are like, it's not working, to look inside yourself and maybe, why is it not really working? Is it your therapist or is it you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is it your therapist or is it you? Now, what motivated you to enter the wellness industry, particularly the field of mental health? Did you hear me?
What inspired me to enter the wellness thing? So how far back do I go? I was born in 1980s. I always wanted to be a doctor. I saw someone like me, my senior year of high school, taking a class outside of high school that I was just like, ooh, and we did personality testing. If you know me, well, part of the reason I'm a therapist, I like to pick people apart. I'm very observant and I will sit in a space and I could tell you in like 10 minutes about everybody and be very accurate. A lot of people don't like that because they think I'm being judgy. But if you're not honest with yourself, you would think I'm being judgy. So from that class, I started to shift gears. So it was no longer like the priority was being a doctor. It was just like, oh, we got to treat the mind before we treat the physical. And those two go hand in hand. So I wanted to more focus on the brain and less so. And I figured like if we could fix this, what's going on up in here in our head, all the rest of us will fall into place. So that's really why I got into wellness. And I just generally want to help people. So I think part of that is, and any client could tell you, is I'm real. And some of them might think I'm harsh, but it's because I want to help you. I see the potential in you. So when you come into therapy and you're like, this is your goal, I'm going to hold you to the fire to accomplish that goal. Don't tell me you want to accomplish a goal because, baby, we're going to accomplish that goal.
I love
it. You tell me I want to lose 20 pounds. Hey, what are we going to do to lose 20? Cool. Every week, what did you do this week to move towards that goal? You did it? Let's start all over again. So I push my clients, and I get it. Some people aren't ready to be pushed. So that's where I'm being harsh comes in. Yeah, whatever. I've been in the game for 18 years. So at this point, then I'm not the therapist for you. If your goal is to still be at point 1 3 months later, then I'm not the therapist for you.
I get that. I love that. Now, you mentioned helping people become better versions of themselves. Mm-hmm. Can you share a success story that particularly stands out to you?
Out of my 18 years, Cammy, there's so many clients.
I know it, but do it without naming names.
No, I'm not gonna name anybody as HIPAA. I follow HIPAA very strongly. Some successes that I've had with people becoming better versions of themselves. So, for example, I'm very good at helping people, and I probably should lean into this more, like career aspect wise, like figuring out, like troubleshooting where they're stuck at in their career and getting them to a different point, either reevaluating their career or leaving a job that's not working for them and really getting outside of their comfort zone, zoning in on their skills and finding the job that speaks to that. So I've had several clients who started with me and they were miserable at their job. And I'm just like, why are you there? Oh, finances. Okay. What can you do? Stay there. But what can you do while you're staying there to move towards your goal and live the life that you want to live? So things of that nature. People that were hell bent on, I'm not taking medication, blah, 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 saw a psychiatrist, and we had a better response in therapy, because the way I sell medication is, listen, it's not permanent. It's a temporary relief so that we get the work done in therapy so that you can function from day to day. If you do need it forever, that's one thing. But right now, let's just look at it temporary from every 90 days, and you get reevaluated on that. So I've had success stories with that, where I've had people come into therapy like, hey, I've been to a therapist before. What is that you could tell me? And I present as very young. I'm not young people, but I present as very young. I've had a lot of people think, because they assume I'm young, that I don't know what I'm talking about till they're in therapy with me for a while. And now they're sold on therapy. They're like, oh, you know what you're talking about. I've told other people about you. And then my referrals are going through the roof. So I don't like to toot my own horn, but toot, I'm really good at what I do.
What advice would you give someone struggling to make a commitment to improving their mental health?
Stick with it. Stick with it. First and foremost, you need to find a therapist that understands you. Every therapist is not for you. I'm not the therapist for everybody. That's what I literally tell clients. My private ones, the ones that are coming through the clinic and stuff like that, I don't really tell them that, but they can fire me if they want to. If it's not working for you, honestly, and you've been sticking with it, fire your therapist. But have an honest conversation with them before you do that. Tell them what is not working. Tell them what it is that you need. And then see going forward if some changes are made. And if they're not, you can always fire your therapist. I empower clients. If it's not working for me after some point, fire me. I'm okay with that, because I want to be the stepping stone to you getting better. And if better is finding somebody else, then go ahead and do that. So someone that is, ambivalent about therapy, start with that first. Also, really, what is it? How do you want to feel different? Right? So you know how you're feeling right now. Going forward, how do you want to think, feel, behave? When you can identify that, then it's a little bit easier to commit to therapy. It goes back to what I was saying, where adults come into session, they think they have these goals, and it's just like, they're not realistic goals. Like, I don't have a magic wand where I fix people. People think I do. I don't. Mm-hmm. I'm a psychotherapist, not a psychic. There's two different things. But you have to have tangible goals that are realistic to work towards in order to make therapy work and to commit yourself to it. And again, let me break down therapy. It's once a week for about 45 minutes to an hour. You got to make time for that. This is not when I feel like it. It's not a drop-in thing, because you're not going to make any change by doing it when you feel like it. You have to commit yourself to every week for 45 minutes. When you're consistent enough, then your therapist can be like, let's meet bi-weekly, let's meet monthly, let's do as needed. So that's the advice I give to people. You got to stick with it initially in the beginning in order to make it work for you.
Okay. Now, in your experience, what role does communication play in mental health, both in personal growth and in the therapeutic setting?
Communication in what way?
Just communication, period. Talking to your, like I said, talking to your therapist, but also talking and being communicative in your personal life.
So I have like 3 pillars that I'm hell-bent on, but I use them more for relationships, but they could apply to individuals. You have to be honest. Communication is important. If we're talking relationships, intimacy is important, and finances, being honest about finances. If one of those 3 is missing, it falls down. So for yourself, are you being honest? And when I say intimacy with yourself, I'm talking about self-care. Are you taking care of self? Are you communicating your needs to yourself? Are you financially sound or getting somewhere where you need to be? We can apply those 3 pillars that I use in relationships to ourselves. Communication is very important. People don't know how you think and feel if you don't tell them. We'll hear a lot of people, well, they should have known. No, people are not mind readers. They don't know. And it's also the wording that we use. We can think we're communicating with words, and we're actually not using the right words to communicate what we need.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, continue with that.
Okay, now you've emphasized in the past the importance of commitment, communication, and change in mental health. Can you elaborate on how these 3 elements contribute to wellness?
You got to be committed to change, and you got to communicate the change that you want. So we're talking about being in therapy, which I'm assuming we're focusing on. You got to be committed to the change, and that commitment, not commitment, those goals can change, right? So when you set the goals, what is your commitment to those goals to elicit change over time? A lot of people think they're going into therapy and you're just talking. There's something called a treatment plan, and every, depending what state you live in and where your therapist is working, it's either every 90 days, it's every 6 months, or it's every year. Are we actively in every session working towards those goals and objectives that you set? So are you committed to the change? And are you communicating your needs to yourself and to the other people around you, especially your therapist? So as you see, when I came on here, I started off with, hey, how are you feeling, right?
Yep.
A lot of people can't tell me how they're feeling.
They don't have the communication skills to tell you how they're feeling, or the words.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, you guys. Can you hear me? I can see you moving. I think we lost Kaye for a minute.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
What happened?
Okay, we'll be back, you guys, with a few moments with Kaye. So give us a brief moment so that we can restructure. I think we lost her. Yeah, we lost her completely. Hopefully she'll log back in shortly. Well, while she's logged out, let's talk about her as a VIP coach on the 10 Dimensions of Wellness virtual summit. She will actually be sitting on our coaches panel, so you'll get an opportunity to sit in a breakout room and discuss with Kaye some information and ask some one-on-one questions if you're interested. So I advise you to go ahead and get your tickets. They're on sale now for $85. There she is. I think we got her back. I'm seeing her, but she's not coming in. There she is. Okay. I think we got her back.
Sorry, my apologies. Technical. The devil's a liar.
All right. Now, my last question for you was, change can be difficult for many people. What strategies do you use to help your clients embrace change in their mental health journey?
Oh, this is good. I'm glad you asked me this question, because I got new training and I feel like a new clinician in like the last year. So I'm like, yo, I'm ready for these questions. So I just recently I'm bad English. I'm sorry, people. I was recently trained in, my mama would be so upset with me if I said the sentence I was going to say before. I was recently trained in EMDR. Don't ask me what all the letters stand for. Desensitization, something. Anywho, And TFCBT, which is trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy. I love EMDR because it really helps people. So if you think of like all your problems as like an iceberg, people come into therapy with the top of the iceberg. That's all the pretty stuff. You know, icebergs are cute. You see them in the water. You're like, oh my gosh, look at that. It looks so nice. But you got to flip it over, and all the stuff that's on the bottom is the stuff that I, as your therapist, is trying to explore and get to, which you don't want me to get to because it brings up stuff for you. So EMDR is beautiful because it's less work on me and more about the client actively doing work. And I've seen so many, when you ask about success stories, I actually should have started with that. That I've seen changes in clients where they come back in next session motivated because they're just like, listen, whatever you did last session, do that again. Because that felt good. They felt tingling all over your body. Like with EMDR, you can't deny what is happening in your body because all the stuff starts to bubble up and you can't suppress it like you've been suppressing it with talk therapy. People sit in therapy and lie. They don't lie. I mean, they
lie. They lie.
They lie. But with me as a therapist, I'm like, I know you lying. Other therapists might be like, buy that lie. With EMDR, the beautiful thing is that your neural network gets activated and you can't deny what is happening in that moment. So you can't lie because the body doesn't lie. The body keeps score. It's a book that I'm reading. I don't have it in front of me. But the body keeps score of what's been going on, and it's an easy way to start healing. But we don't start at your biggest trauma. We can start anywhere you want to start because that small trauma leads to me exploring all the other traumas. So it's like connect the dots. I love EMDR. Woo, I love it. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. TFCBT is like more structured, but EMDR, that's where it's at. So if you can find yourself an EMDR therapist, man, you'll be healed. You'll be motivated, committed to therapy. You just be like, give me more. Give me more.
Give me more life changes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned that once mental health is intact, you can do anything. So can you share examples of how you've improved mental health how improved mental health has empowered some of your clients?
They're able to think better. Okay, so one pet peeve that I have, not to judge anybody, I'm a person, I think Cammy's heard me say this before. I'm a big advocate of showers, and I've gotten clients who don't like showering to shower. When they realize the healing properties of water, I'm about to create shower therapy because honestly, there's healing properties in water. I'm from the Caribbean, so people will literally go to the beach and heal in the water. The water literally heals you. If more people got in water, you would be healed. I need us to start realizing that. But anywho, I've gotten clients who did not want to partake in that activity because they might have trauma from that, who have been able to go from no days to some days to create an oasis for themselves that they didn't realize they could create and make that a safe space for them. So this goes back to my EMDR. We create a safe space. You create your own safe space. I don't. And then that's the space you go to when you're feeling triggered, when you're feeling down, when you're experiencing all of those negative emotions. So my success story is creating a safe space for you that you probably never had.
Okay. Now, how do you guide your clients in setting and maintaining healthy boundaries in their own lives?
Stop lying to yourself. We lie to ourselves a lot. It's disgusting. It's fun. Be truthful with yourself. I know the truth hurts. Blue Cantrell saying that, whatever it is. But the truth hurts. And you got to be honest with yourself about what's going on and where you want to be. And that's okay. That's why I'm here as your therapist. You'd be like, I'm glad you're being honest with yourself. Doesn't be like, yo, I effed up. Okay, you effed up. Now what? What you gonna do? We know you effed up. You know you effed up. Now what are you gonna do moving forward? How do you want to grow from this situation? So that's really, I'm all about empowering clients. I've had clients tell me I'm struggling with this. I cheer them on. I've had clients text me all this week, all their wins. I'm like, yes. I'm like, text me. I don't care what time it is. Text me and let me know whether it went well or it didn't go well. If it went well, 2 thumbs up. If it didn't, we talk about it in therapy and we process that and see how we can get that win next time. I'm the number one cheerleader. They may not feel like that sometimes, but I cheer for them. Sometimes a little too loud. They're like, "Oh, bring it down." Okay. They're like, "You up here? I need you to be down." I love what I do. I like helping people.
I love it. Okay, for someone new to the concept of mental health wellness, where do you suggest they start?
You mean like in therapy?
Yeah, either in therapy or whatever. What are your suggestions? If I'm new to this space, where do I start?
Okay, so answer yourself the question, what am I looking to get out of therapy? Where do you want to start? Because your therapist is going to start wherever you want to start. We don't have to address, like I said, we don't have to address your deepest, darkest secret at the beginning of therapy because that's going to be too heavy. 1, you don't know me. 2, we got to build trust. 3, that's a lot for me to deal with if I just said, hi, hello, how are you feeling today? What is your goal? And you go into, unless that's the thing you want to, I'm not forcing you to go into that deep trauma. I want to build that trust with you. So in starting with therapy is just be yourself. Like you come in, just be yourself. Let your therapist get to know you and you get to know your therapist. Let that be the space where you don't feel like you have to put up a front. So let go of this, like, I'm going to be judged. Like, if your therapist is judging you, that's very unprofessional of them. I'm not judging anybody. I try not to take that weight home with me. Because, hey, we're all one day, one moment away from that person's shoes. So I can't judge somebody for whatever they went through or what they're going through or the choices that they're making. So in starting there, being honest with yourself, if you're looking for what is it that you want to get out of therapy, and then look for a therapist that kind of checks off those boxes. If you're looking for a therapist, I know Black people are like, I need to find a therapist that looks like me. If that's what you want, then find that person. And it's not, I don't want to just limit it to Black people. Like if you're a Jewish person looking for someone that looks like you, find that. If you're Hispanic, whoever, start there. What is it that I want to get out of therapy? What is it that I need from my therapist? And my best tidbit is interview your therapist. That first consultation, that first session is you interviewing them. It's not them answering you 100 questions. It's you answering questions. So come into that first session with some questions. What are some modalities? What are some of your, success stories without them giving away names? How can you help me? And you'll know from the vibe. Like I said, I'm not the therapist for everybody. So.
Okay. Now, relaxation is crucial for mental health. We all know that. But what are some relaxation techniques or practices that you recommend?
So my recommendations, I don't like to give clients what I do because it may not work for them. So I tap into what is it brings you joy. Did you know a lot of people don't know what brings them joy? So we got to really go back in time to like, hey, when you were a child, what was the thing that brought you joy? Because I don't know what happens, and you can probably relate to this, Cammie. You become an adult and you forgot your childhood. Yeah. Because adulthood is taking over. So all the things that brought you joy in childhood and helped you relax and cope, you're like, I'm not going to do this in adulthood. And it's like, why not? If that helped you when you were a child and it was positive, why not do that as an adult? So first I tap into, I tell them tap in. What is the thing that brought you joy? Do that. Like I'm a music lover. I've always been that way. But that's because my parents gave me a space to zone out to music. Like
music I would in the morning. So
yes, I do. And I love you if I send you a song. If I send you a song, that's it. That's my way of saying I love you. Wake up. I'm glad you're alive today.
And the music is always high energy the way she is. So once you click it, you better be prepared to get up.
Right.
Okay.
One of the recent one that I sent to Cammie, like I have it as my alarm and it scares me out of my sleep every morning, but I get up motivated though. I get up. I'm not a morning person, but I get up motivated. But find a thing that brings you joy. So music's not for everybody. Some people get irritated by music, the sounds alone. You like drawing, you like writing, you like walking. What is it that you like to do? If you can't, scale back to when you were a child or a teen or that happiest moment in your life and do that thing. Start doing that thing again, but doing it consistently. Consistency is the key. You got to do it consistent. I listen when I'm in a bad mood. I'm like, you didn't listen to any music today, and I'll turn on music. And every day is a different vibe. Sometimes I'll listen to Fleetwood Mac. If y'all are familiar with them, people might not believe. And then some days I feel like listening to gangster rap. Like there's no balance in my world. It's whatever I feel like that day.
All right. Now, your podcast, Black Therapy Uncensored, is a resource for so many people. Mm-hmm. What topics do you find resonate most with your audience?
Oh, all the topics. I was going to choose one, but literally all the topics. I've talked about anxiety. I've spoken about depression. I've spoken about toxicity in relationships. Right now, doing my woman empowerment. So talking about surviving versus thriving. We talked about being Black in America. That's a great one to listen to. Prescription for, I can't remember the topics off the top of my head, but anything that you can think of, I've kind of addressed. And if I haven't, you can always send me suggestions and I will literally create an episode or a little tidbit on it. But all the episodes are worth listening to. I do give, there's a couple of episodes where I do give self-care tips, and that was earlier on in Black Therapy Uncensored, where I didn't know where I was going with the podcast. So I was literally just speaking all the thoughts off the top of my head. But now that those are all out, now I try to give people really, really tangible things that you can work with. So my whole theme is listen, learn, apply. I want you to listen. I want you to learn. And then I want you to take what you listen to and what you learn and apply that to your daily life until the next episode.
Okay. Now, how do you approach creating content for your podcast that both educates and engages your listeners?
Can you repeat that one more time?
I said, how do you go about creating content for your podcast that both educates and engages your listeners?
So the interesting part about that is in COVID, because I was so observant and not around people, I took a lot of, well, I don't want to say around a lot of people. I took what I observed and made those into episodes. But now I'm taking a lot of my group sessions and creating them into episodes. So it's kind of like being in group therapy, just without the group. So all these episodes that are coming up are based off of topics I've done in groups. So you're kind of getting like free group therapy through a podcast. So there'll be questions answered, there'll be words defined that you're like, oh, I didn't know that it meant that. And, like real tips of what to do, what not to do, kind of like a mental health guide. Oh, that's a really great episode. When you asked about where people should start, listen to my podcast of Mental Health Guide 101. And I give you mental health and where you should start in therapy and how you can help other people looking for therapy.
Okay, that's good. Now, let me ask you this. We're going to get a little personal. What challenges have you encountered in maintaining your mental health while working in such an emotionally demanding field?
Ooh, try not to take people's trauma home with me. I've gotten better, but when I first started as a therapist, because I was like 20 something and now I'm like, 40 something. I know it doesn't look that way, but I am. I would take the trauma home. I know people are trying to do the math like, girl, you don't look a day over. Yes, I am. I would literally take the trauma home with me. Like I would be leaving work like in tears, be upset. And now I have to realize these were the cards life dealt these individuals. They're doing the best they can. And my session this week got them one step away from that trauma. They're one step closer to healing. So that kind of helps me. And I implement self-care. Like I told you, if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, you didn't listen to music today. And I'll turn on music. I'll start singing. I'm a person that randomly sings songs and makes beats. I've had clients, I have a microphone. If I show you my microphone that I sometimes use in sessions with clients, some love it. Others are just like, you're crazy. I've literally sang the whole session. I'll be like, how are you feeling today? They're like, please stop. I'm like, no, I have joy down in my soul. So I'm not going to stop right now. So things like that I try. And I'm big on laughing. Like I will sit down and laugh. Like my favorite show is Martin. And I've watched that more than I can tell you. And it's like the first time watching it. And I just Laughter is the best medicine.
Okay. Now, we talked about the importance of boundaries and relaxation and maintaining your client's health. But I know one of the things you talked about was music. How else do you practice these in your daily life?
How else do I practice boundaries in my daily life? I
Yeah,
love my
boundaries.
clients. Yeah, love my clients. I'm not worrying about y'all when session's done. Unless something major. I know that sounds crazy. So let me fix that. Unless something major came up on our session, I'm not worried about people to next session.
Okay.
I can't. I have to. That's how I create the boundary. I also don't answer my phone after a certain time. I let clients know. I am available by email if there's an emergency, but like I'm not answering my phone after a certain time. I'll look at it. I'll make a mental note. But if it's 10 p.m. at night, I've been off duty for 5 hours or more.
I get it. All right. So
Because how are you gonna cope if I'm always jumping in? That's my thing for clients. How are you gonna use
tell
the coping
them
skills if I'm jumping in?
tell them the steps that you gave us on what people should do, like their list of, if they're trying to make it out of therapy, like you said, therapy isn't long term. So to give
Mm-hmm.
them the list of steps that you gave us in the group, to talk, that give them the I guess, what is it called? It's not the list. It's like the your points of, I guess, contact when you're having a crisis. What is that called? You tell me
Oh,
to
a
tell.
safety plan. Yes.
Yeah.
So what Cammie's referring to, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to therapy, at some point, actually, I try to do this with all clients. So a safety plan is originally was created for clients that are suicidal. I realize, and a lot of clinicians realize, you can use it for just everyday things. It doesn't mean that you're in danger. Is you're learning how to rely more on yourself and trust yourself before you get to calling your therapist. So like there's like 6 steps to it. Step number 1 is, what are your triggers? A lot of us don't know what our triggers are. So when we're reacting, we're having those knee-jerk reactions because you don't know what your triggers are. So you're crying, you're yelling at people, you're screaming, all of that rage. And if you know what your triggers are, then you're less likely to react in that way. So step 1 is, what are your triggers? What are the things that let you know a crisis is about to occur, or you're getting close to a crisis occurring? That is step 1. Okay, you did step 1, but you're still feeling away. Cool. Step 2, what are some coping strategies you can utilize to help you with those triggers? That's why I say, what are things that bring you joy? Because those are your coping strategies. And they're not the same for everyone. Journaling does not work for everyone. I hate, no, I'm going to say hate. I dislike when therapists like, oh, you should journal. And they say no, because it doesn't work for everyone. Some people hate writing. It's a chore. So if I tell people to journal, I'm like, yo, use a voice memo. You like talking, you talk so much. Use a voice memo on your phone. They're like, oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, you don't want to do that? Draw it out. What else can you do? So those are your coping strategies. And they got to be positive things. Don't tell me go smoke a blunt. That ain't positive. You might think it's helping you, but it really ain't. Drinking a bottle of wine. No. Positive strategies that are going to help you in the long term, not the short term. Because drugs and substances are short term. Okay, so now we identify your triggers, your coping strategies. Number 3, who are 2 people you can call? This is where most adults get stuck because they don't have support systems. I find a lot of adults in therapy do not have friends. And if they do, they don't trust these people. So I don't know why they're their friends. You did 1, 2, 3. Step 4 is people and places that you can talk to and go. So finding your places, safe space. So it could be the park. Maybe it's your bedroom. Maybe you got a special room in your house where nobody bothers you when you go there. You know, like men got men caves, something like that. Now you did step 4. You know what number 5 is? Your therapist. Because step 1 to 4 is you were literally relying on yourself. And then you're like, none of those are working. Then that's when you call your therapist, or you call the mobile crisis. Or if you're feeling suicidal, you call 988 or you text them or whatever it is. And then step 6 is, how can I make my environment safe? If you're someone that's feeling suicidal, that's like, hide the knives, hide the, medication. In general, relaxing. knowing my triggers, tapping into my coping skills, taking time for myself, telling people no. So those, I just literally went through it. Ask your therapist about it. When you go in therapy, create a safety plan. Use it and ask for a copy of it. You're entitled to all the well, not all the documentation. Well, you're kind of entitled to all the documentation. I wouldn't want to see my notes though. I have to rephrase that. But you're entitled to like your safety plan. You could post it up somewhere so that you have a reference to it. And if it's not working, then tweak it with your therapist. You are in control.
Okay. Now, how do you stay up to date with the latest developments in mental health and ensure that your practices are effective?
I go to trainings. I was just recently in a training in Maryland back in May for NCTSN. Don't ask me what all those letters stand for. You can Google them. I think it's the National Center for Trauma. I don't know if the S and N stress. Oh, got it. National Center for Traumatic Stress Network. See, I remembered. Okay.
Y'all gotta go back. If y'all think she crazy on here, y'all gotta go back and listen to that first part. The one, it's like my second podcast.
Listen, I know my stuff as a therapist. Don't judge me based off of not knowing some letters. I know my stuff. So yes, I went to this training. So I always not training. I went to like a workshop, a conference for like 3 days in Maryland. It was amazing with all these professionals, and I learned so much information. I'm always willing to sign up to learn a new modality. Like I told you, I'm training EMDR and TFCB2, and I'm probably going to go for it and get certified in both of those, which means that I can go around and, use my professionalism and train other therapists and get more clientele. So I'll let Cammie know when that happens, because I can already see the wheels turning in her head. So that is how, and I'm also now reading, and I don't have the book in front of me, but The Body Keeps Score. So I usually try to read like one psychology book. I'm trying to get back in the practice of reading one psychology book a year. And then at some point I may do my PhD, but that's on the,
why did I think you were getting ready to say one psychology book a month? But you said a year.
I said a year. A month is a lot, Cammie. It's a lot. But I'm reading Body Keeps Score. That's a thick book, and I'm actually reading it with a client. I'm reading it with clients, so she got her book before me, so we're reading it together. Because we're gonna use it in a session. So.
Okay. All right. So this is my last question for you. What message of hope or encouragement would you like to leave with our listeners who are struggling with their mental health? And when you finish with your message of hope and encouragement, let them know how to get in touch with you, your social media and all of that stuff. Okay.
Okay. My words of encouragement to people are, you are loved. Listen, you are amazing. Just the way you are. I love you just the way you are. No, I want you to honestly believe that. You might have some things in your past and people who told you you're not enough, you're not valuable, you're not important. But I want to let you know you are. When you step into therapy, you should feel like your therapist cares about you. I don't want to say love you, but at least like you, or enjoys their time together with you, even in those tough moments. But I'm Kaye Henry, your licensed mental health counselor, your licensed professional counselor, your host of Black Therapy Uncensored. You can catch me and find me on Instagram at Black Therapy Uncensored, Facebook Black Therapy Uncensored. You can check out my podcast, Black Therapy Uncensored, and anywhere that you can find me as a therapist. I am located in New York and Connecticut, so that is my clientele. I'm not licensed anywhere else. So if you're located in those two areas and you need therapy, you can look me up. And if I have availability, I will definitely put you on the list. If not, I know plenty other professionals that are looking for clients at this time that I highly recommend. So please, please, please. It's been a pleasure. Listen, Cammie's got some good stuff here. So I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm looking forward to the Wellness Summit.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today, Kay. I'm so grateful to have you on the show again. Like I said,
Thank
you
you.
guys
Thank
go
you.
back and listen. My second episode, I believe, Kay was on my show. This was about 5 years ago, so that tells you guys how long we have been in connection and how long we have been friends.
Yes. Yes.
So
You today as I did back then.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Bye.
Listen, you guys, this wraps up another episode of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness podcast. A huge thank you again to Kaye Henry for sharing her expertise on mental wellness with us. Kay's insight reminds us the importance of caring for our own mental health and the power of embracing practices that help us to maintain balance in our everyday lives. If today's conversation resonated with you, make sure you catch Kay's full presentation, or she's going to be sitting on the VIP panel. So make sure you're there so you can get into a breakout room with her, where she'll delve into mental health strategies and support. You can find all the details on our website, www.cammyred.com. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, mental wellness is a crucial part of our overall well-being, and it's okay to seek help and take steps to care for your mind. Until next time, take care and stay well. And always don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you so much and have a great day.